everyone. I know there are people from different roles. They're project managers, they're developers and stuff. So we want to make this a very hands-on program. And that's the reason the title was suggested as from theory to practice. So initially, we're going to introduce ourselves. I have some key members from our team from Inflectra. We have Dr. Shriram as well. We're going to talk on the practical aspects of setting up the REST APIs. How do you set up on Spira? Then we'll talk about using a Postman. How do you set it up for API access? Then we will talk about the HTTP requests. How do you do the get, post, put, and delete using Postman? So although we're not going to get into the much details of Postman, the objective is to showcase the REST API functions. But yeah, Postman will be the tool for our demo today. Of course, we'll have a Q&A session and then we'll conclude. That's on the agenda side. So moving on, I would like Abhijit to introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Abhijit. I am the CTO in MVerve. I will be going over setting up Spira for API calls, setting up Postman, and I'll show you how we can make API calls from Postman to Spira. And if you have any questions, you can just ask them at the end of the session.
Thank you, Abhijit. Shriram, you will say hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm sure many of you may have seen my face. I am Dr. Sriram Rajgopalan. I'm the global lead for training and agile transformation within Inflectra. I work with pretty much all the partners, and it's wonderful to see this webinar idea come from idea to inception to delivery at this point, and looking forward to learning more.
Thank you, Shriram. Kriti?
Hi, I'm Kriti Agarwal, co-founder and delivery head at MVerve. We'll talk about MVerve in a bit. I think Harsha will obviously talk about it a little more, but I hope that the session has a positive impact and everybody has something to take away today from this.
Thank you, Kriti. I'm the founder and head of business development, and I'm the one who's talking, obviously. So I take care of business development, operations, partnerships. So I'm the face, but there are a lot of key members in our company. So yeah, let's proceed. Shriram, you want to, or Audrey, you want to talk about the Inflectra?
Sure. Let me give a quick rundown here. As you can see over here, the key message that we are focusing on is quality. Inflectra helps you deliver quality software. Software is almost commoditized in every industry at this particular point. There is not a single industry that does not have software at this point. So we help you deliver quality software, not only faster, but also with lower risk. So that's our mantra here, and we support multiple industries and multiple regulated focus and stuff like that. And the platform is comprised of Spira at its core, and it comes in 3 different editions. One is the Spira test. It is primarily focused on certain key artifacts that is managed for test management for teams. And then we expand the Spira test to Spira team with additional functions and features to agile lifecycle management for teams. As many of you know, agile uses different sets of keywords and different sets of ways of working. And then we move into SpiraPlan, which is more into the program and portfolio at the enterprise level, which requires additional considerations for data, reporting, and many other elements as enterprise wants to see it. And this is sandwiched between 2 different elements. At the bottom, we have Rapis, which supports our test automation within ourselves. This can be used independently from Spira, but can also be combined with Spira. And then we do have additional functionalities like Spira Capture for non-technical members to perform exploratory testing. And we do have a customer service desk called Chronodesk, which also completely integrates with this. So together, this becomes the platform that supports our mantra of quality software with lower risk and delivering everything faster. Let's move on to the next slide.
Yep. We are a 2013 established software development company. We help businesses with digital transformation solutions. Now, I know this is a very often used word, But I do want to say that we work on at a partnership level. Our average partnership engagement duration is 2 to 2.5 years. From ideation to execution of custom software is our key USP. So from 2013, we worked with companies like Tata Motors, Bosch. Now we are also a solution partner gold level with Inflectra Solutions. So while there are capabilities which are mentioned, I just want to mention a few things that we have developed and which we are pretty proud of. So some of the solutions that we have developed are on, for example, let me start with loyalty management systems. And these loyalty management systems are incentive-based programs, which is built across, works with any industries. Some companies like Bosch and Tata Motors, they're using this incentive program. It's built on both web and mobile platform. That's one. The second one that I would like to focus is our Salesforce. The Salesforce which we mentioned, we actually augmented the capabilities of Salesforce by building a Salesforce automation software for the field salespeople to help in order processing, project management functions. And we also have, for manufacturing and automotive verticals, we have a parts and a quotation management systems. This is interesting because it works with any leading ERP programs like Plex ERP, or Oracle's NetSuite, or SAP. So we are also adding more and more integration capabilities. And of course, with Inflectra, the ALM function is our key service. So that's about MVerve. I think we are about 10 minutes past the webinar. So I would like to focus on the meaty part of this of our webinar. I would request Abhijit to take over.
Hey guys. So one of the things I would like to ask, since you're going to talk about REST APIs, so are people familiar with REST API calls, making REST API calls to across apps amongst people here? That is one of the questions that I would like to know. It'd be good if you're familiar with Postman to some extent. And if you have knowledge about get, put, post, delete kind of requests to be made from any tool or any software to any other service that you're familiar with, would anybody have any such experience from earlier?
Yes, I just launched the poll, Abhijit. I'm going to stop the poll right now. At this particular point, about 67% of the people have some familiarity with Postman, and obviously, 1/3 doesn't.
Oh, okay, that's great. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing my screen, and we'll go over the steps that are required to, one, enable Spira to be able to respond to API calls. And second, what we need to do on the side of Postman to be able to make these calls. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Please let me know when it's visible.
Yes, we can see your screen coming up.
All right. So I'm going to log into Spira first with my credentials. So now that I have logged into Spira, that's good. So one of the things that we need to do is to be able to enable our API keys. And so I go into settings here, go into edit users and select on me. And here at the bottom, we have this particular key called enable RSS feeds, which has been marked to yes. When we mark it to yes, you'll notice that, let me just set it back to no and show you what happens. So when we set it back to no, we see that there is no API key. However, when we do set it to yes, we get a new API key, which gets generated here. Let me just save it now. Okay, so I have this API key over here, which is what we use to, I'm going to copy this over, which we want to use from Postman to connect to Spira. The other thing that we need to enable is in your general settings, under settings system, you go to security settings, and right at the bottom, you have the allowed domains. This indicates which domains, requests from which domain can access Spira. So as of right now, we've put it as asterisk. But if you have your applications running on a specific domain, you want to ensure that only that domain can connect to Spira, right? So let's put asterisk and continue for now. And that is all the settings that are needed on the Spira side of things. There is no other settings required. So as of right now, we are in the project called Financial Management Services, and we'll go to the list of requirements. And what the expectation would be to try to get these requirements out from Postman. So here I am in Postman and I have to log in here. You have to create an account and log in here. And once you've logged in, you have to create a collection, which is basically something like here, and you create a new blank collection. The reason for creating a collection is you have your APIs then in one collection. It's basically like a folder. The other main reason is that when you click on a particular collection, these triple dots, and you will see that there is an edit option. The whole point of the collection is that you can set variables against that collection. So for example, we had created these the Spira API endpoint. These are the variables that are there, the username that is required, and the API key. So I'm just going to paste the new API key, which I just received, and save this request. Save this collection. So these are called the collection variables, which are then accessed in each of the API calls. So let us just take, for example, getting a list of all projects. So we'll get all the projects here, and since it is all REST API, we'll be communicating it through it via REST. And here is where we put the variable which we added there. So this is the base URL that you see. When you put, let me just delete this and add it again. So when we do like this, we can get the variable pop-up comes, and then we say /projects to get the projects list. And here we have the username, which is again coming from a variable. We have the API key, which is again coming from a variable. And the other thing that we're giving is a content type. This basically requires an application JSON. We can also give an application XML if that is what we prefer. So let us just make a request to this. So we get now all the projects that are there as an array. And if we were to collapse it, we will see that we have gotten these two projects which are there on Spira here. So we have these two projects here, financial management and program one, which is what you're going to see here. So let me just expand one of them. And you see financial management system over here as one of the things that we've gotten. As you can see here, this has a project ID of 33. So obviously, then we can also do a REST API. Since REST API consists of 4 HTTP methods, which is get, post, put, and delete. Get in turn matches a list, or in this case, or a specific by ID. So I'm going to now specifically ask for a particular project by its ID. Before I continue, I think I should also mention where we got this base URL from. So let's go back to this particular page on the Spira documentation. And it says here that how to access the API. We have the company name /spiraservices.net /services / whichever version of API you're calling /restservices.svc. So if I go back to the variables, you'll see that in let's open this one. So our base URL is basically MVerve.spiraservices.net.services v7 REST services, what we saw in this particular page. This is the URL which is generated for this particular this service, this URL that you're seeing here. But actually, what you're going to hit for your company is going to be with the company name which the Spira has provided for you, the URL that has been provided for you. So here like we saw, we were able to get a project by its ID. We were able to get a list of all projects. And similarly, we can also get additional things. So for example, let's have a look at Spira here, and we have a list of requirements. These are the list of requirements that we see. And now we're going to fetch all the requirements. By the way, these collections will be available to you. You can import them. So you have this import functionality. Once it is basically a JSON file, which you can drop anywhere here, and you'll get the corresponding JSON here. You'll have to obviously change the variables in the collection variable settings, and then you'll be able to access this. So here, we already have the base URL. We pass the username and the API key. And instead of hard coding the username and API key, let us just send it as, I'm sorry, this is going as a parameter. Let us send it as part of the body instead. Part of the header. So we have the username and the API key coming in from the variables, and we're going to request all the requirements here under project 33. And when we do this, we get the JSON here. And we are getting a JSON here because we've said that the content type should be application JSON. If in your application you want to consume XML responses, you just have to send it as, make the request as content type XML, and you should then get the XML document here. So let's go back to JSON. I find it a little more readable compared to XML. And here we have the corresponding requirements. So for example, here we have a requirement, there's the project name, and then you have status, all the details of the corresponding. So user registration is the actual requirement, which is the first one. And that is what we see when we come here, we see user registration. All these things that are there will come as a list. The indents of them will also appear as part of the indent label here, as part of the keys. So what we're going to do is now, against a particular project, we'll also get all the incidents. So let us just see what the incidents that are there here. So I have now got a list of incidents here against this particular financial management system project. And I'm going to fetch these from the API. So I say again here, it is project 33/incidents. The base URL remains the same, which is MVerve, your company name, Spira services, etc., which is available in the documentation page. And I'm going to make a request here. So these are the incidents that I've gotten. And as you can see here, the incident name, new INC, or whatever it is that you have added in your list. So what we'll do first is create a new incident. So we'll do a post. And as we know, the get is for fetching data, the post is for creating new entities, put is for updating an entity, and delete is for deleting an entity. So here we are doing a post call with the structure that we need, and we will have a name against it. So let's give, this is a test new incident as a name, and we are going to create a new incident from here. So when we make this call, we see we get a 200 status, okay, and we get the response. Going back to Spira, we need to refresh the page here. And we see the test new incident entity has been created here, the record. Right? We also know when we look at this here is that the incident ID is 126. So if I want to get this incident specifically by its ID, I can also make that request from here. Which gives me that entire incident, just that specific incident itself. Now, what if I want to update that same incident from using an API call? So that's what I use put for. In the case of put, we have to then use that entire response body that we have received in the get by ID and ensure that the same body goes here with the relevant changes. So in our case, we just want to update the name. So let us mark it as something like changed test new incident, make a request. I should also mention that here the ID is 26. Yes. This time I get a response of null and a status 200 OK, which means the update went through successfully. Going back here, if I were to refresh the page, I would ideally see this to be changed. So this has been changed now. And just like we can do create a new incident, just like we can update a new incident, update an existing incident, we can also delete an incident. In this case, we will make the same delete call, except in this case, the method will be delete, and we will be putting the incident ID at the end. So it's 126, and I'm going to make that request. And we get a 200 success. Okay. So now going back here, what happens is the incident gets removed here. When I refresh the page, that incident is gone. Now, how do we confirm that the incident is truly deleted or is something is happening which is not expected? So what we can do is we can also write an SQL. So for example, let me just go to reports and just edit any one report. In the custom section part, we can say here, select incident here. And here we can say, instead of value R, we should say R dot incident R dot incident. So, just confirm that it is to indeed confirm that it is deleted. We say aware and we say R dot incident. Confirm that we have written the thing. And what we see here is the 126 ID, which we actually deleted, and it shows as is deleted as true, right? Which means that although we are not able to see it in the actual list of incidents, it is indeed there and it has been deleted. So that is another way to confirm that what we expected the API to do has indeed worked. So we can go back here, go back to the incidents. And although it does not show here, we have confirmed using SQL that it has indeed gotten removed. That kind of brings me to the end of the API calls. So just like you saw, we can not only fetch project details, update project details, we can get requirements, we can get incidents, and there is API. All these API documentation is available on the website. So sorry, it's going here. So you have everything available in the Spira documentation into all the API calls, what to do, where, what it expects in terms of the body, what it expects in terms of the response to be given. All that information is available very extensively in the Spira documentation page. I think that brings me to the end of what I need to present. Who needs to continue after me?
Yeah, Abhijit, thank you.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen now.
Yeah. Yeah. So you all can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen again.
So I think a detailed document would be provided. Audrey, I will be sharing with you through our team. So whoever requests or everyone, we can please drop in their email address here. So the key points were covered. How do you use the REST APIs? How do you use Postman to make the API calls? I hope this was pretty useful. I just want to talk about as MVerve, what we do using as a solution partner, a gold level solution partner of Inflectra solutions. We have certified developers in Spira, Rapis, and our sales team are also capable of Inflectra's understanding of fair and a very good understanding of Inflectra solutions. So Inflectra, as you know, you can actually build custom reports. In fact, they introduced us to a leading public sector bank in India, which had a problem of custom reports. And some of the custom reports where we worked were some indentation that which Abhijit showed, and association reports that is available as artifacts. So those custom reports we were able to create for them using the Spira's eSQL capabilities. What we also did was Spira gives you this OData and REST API capabilities. And for the same bank and for another prospect, we are actually built advanced reporting and capabilities using those REST APIs and OData. That's and we're using Tableau for that. We're also exploring Power BI for another prospect. So that's the power of Spira. And then we have the team who can deliver both either the existing support on Spira custom reports or also build beyond Spira reports. If you want like complicated reports on visualization on tabular or graphical one, we can do it as well. Recently, we're also exploring the Spira apps, which was recently launched. So anybody out there who require assistance, feel free to reach out to us through Inflectra. And yeah, and this is our website, MVerve.com. And as Abhijit said, this is the APIs. This document would be shared with you, but the Postman docs and the Postman API collections, which was used for this project. And I've listed some of the email addresses here. So if anybody has questions, technical questions to Abhijit or Shriram and Kriti, feel free to reach out to us. Audrey, do we have any questions? I know a few people.
Yeah, there was one question that came up which wasn't very clear. There was a question about how to install it on smartphone. So I don't know what it meant there. So I asked a follow-up question about what they are asking. I haven't received a clarity on that. But I just want to, call out a few things. First of all, Abhijit, awesome demo. It flew very quickly, but, it was packed with information. Kudos to all of you for doing a wonderful job on that. And as Abhijit was mentioning, there is a lot of power packed with this REST API. And I'm seeing like some of you were asking, things like, I need more information and stuff like that. So I'm not too sure whether they are project managers or technical members. But at the outset, this is about two different systems talking through a different set of communication protocols or communication handshake mechanism. So you may have data in some other system, and you want to send that information to Spira, or you may want to get some information from Spira and get that information into your system. And that's what Harsha was also mentioning towards the end, where we were able to do certain things. MVerve was able to do certain things for its client base. So it's very important for us to understand that, two different technical stack implemented completely in a different set of, environments are able to talk through the REST API. And the information about REST API, what to access, what are the things to pass with get, put, post, and delete methods as you need to do certain things. All those information are available in the, extensive documentation. It's humanly impossible for us to go through all the potential calls and all the potential information available here. As I mentioned to you, there are three different editions, which is Spira Test, Spira Team, and SpiraPlan. And the REST API is not connected with any one particular edition here at all. So requirements is part of Spira Test. Test cases are part of Spira Test. Tasks are part of Spira Team. And the other elements like programs, capabilities, and stuff like that are part of SpiraPlan. And so the REST API are not tied to any particular edition. It is based upon the information that you are trying to access. And Abhijit demonstrated this using Postman here. The detail behind Postman itself is not part of our webinar because we are not trying to teach how to do a Postman or how to write a SQL statement and stuff like that. But if that is something that you are interested in, please reach out to the MVerve team who may be able to understand what the requests are and take it into the next level of discussions. But with that, I do want to call out that there are lots of powerful functionality over here, and please check it out. MVerve is very easily accessible, and they would be able to demonstrate their power based upon all the extensive experience that they bring to the table and, solve your business problems as well as technical problems. Anything else, Kriti, that we may want to
I
add?
just wanted to add, I see somebody in the chat, somebody by the name of Satish is asking in terms of like a very specific question in terms of like how to handle, see the results of the test cases associated with the release. I would request you to just drop us an email once you've got the slide deck from Inflectra team. Feel free to reach out to us, and if we are able to assist you in any manner or form, we'll be happy to do so.
Yeah, one of the main reasons we did not go into that is because, say, Postman itself has testing capabilities. However, most organizations have their own testing suites. So we would like to know what you would like to have this integration integrated with in your organization, and maybe then we'll be able to provide a better, more comprehensive solution to what you're looking for.
And I also want to call out that there is Inflectra Campus that we have available. So if you go to campus.inflectra.com and register, there are courses that we give. Certain things are free, certain things are paid for. That goes into a lot more extensive experience in terms of, everything else at this point. And Abhijit is completely right. The question is not necessarily going into what is being asked for here. There is a lot of additional information in terms of what you want to keep in mind. Remember, this is get, put, post, delete. That's the fundamental idea behind this, not test, kind of thing. So whatever is happening as part of testing is happening in some other system or that is already there. And then you are trying to gather this information into some other information. That's the idea behind the REST API. So again, if you have more questions, please reach out to Abhijit and the technical team will be able to answer those questions much in advance.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Harsha, Kriti, Abhijit for that presentation and that demo as well. And thanks, Shriram, for supporting that.
Yeah.
But thank you all for attending today. Again, I know we've mentioned before, feel free to reach out to us with any additional questions and we will follow up with the slide deck and the webinar recording in the rest of the day or tomorrow. You'll definitely have it. So thank you again so much for attending and we will see you next time.